What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 14 of That's No Moon Pod. We've had a couple of interesting things drop this past week since the last time I got on here. Not a whole lot of new UFO or UAP headlines. Last week, we were all wondering what was going on with the multiple UFO objects being shot down, and from that video to this point, I think the only thing really major that happened in between then was Joe Biden came out and he had kind of spoke on the issue and pretty much said that they think that they're most likely just balloons from private contractors or some sort. And yeah, that pretty much ends that whole conversation right there. Not a whole lot being said from anyone at this point. We're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with all that. But yeah, in this episode, I wanted to talk about The Last of Us for sure. This past episode. And I also want to talk about Antman 3. I got a chance to go watch the movie this past weekend, and I don't really want to review the movie necessarily, but kind of want to talk about what's kind of been going on with Marvel and their whole movie / TV era within the new phases. Seems like things haven't been going so good since Endgame. Yeah, I kind of just want to give my thoughts on the Marvel stuff, and yeah, those are pretty much the two main topics of the week so far. I saw the new episode of Bad Batch, episode 10, and that one was cool. I'm liking season 2 of the Bad Batch so far, but nothing too crazy going on then until Mando season 3, of course. But I guess I'll just jump straight into The Last of Us. This past weekend's episode was awesome. This show is definitely the best show on TV right now, no doubt. And we're 6 episodes in. I believe there's only 8 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. So, either way, I think we're coming up towards the end on The Last of Us season 1. But you could tell they're already kind of planting some seeds for season 2 now that that's been confirmed. Pedro Pascal's killing it in this role. This was definitely one of those episodes where, you know, you could see why they would want someone of Pedro Pascal's caliber to, you know, kind of give what he can on the screen. And he's so good at those scenes that, you know, where he's trying to make you feel a certain type of way, and you could see what he's going through in the scene and in the moment. Bella Ramsey's killing it as Ellie. They both really had really good scenes in this past episode. Seeing their bond, just seeing where it's at this point and how strong it is. And, you know, you could tell Joel says it in this episode where, you know, she's not his daughter and he's not her dad. But, I mean, at this point, you could kind of see where he was starting not to fully believe that at this point. I think he sees her now as close as it can get, pretty much, and he knows that she trusts him, and I think he wants to see, where this goes, and if they could complete their mission and get Ellie to where she needs to be. The cinematography in the show is awesome. Kind of reminded me of like some the Hateful Eight, like some Quentin Tarantino type style with the snow, and just kind of how everyone kind of showed up and wearing bandanas, and they're on their horses, and it's just each week the show just levels up. It seems like it's definitely something I look forward to every weekend, just to sit back and relax and watch The Last of Us. I got nothing but good things to say about the show so far. And that's pretty much what I gotta say about that. I don't want to go on and do a full-on spoiler review of each thing, because I don't consider myself a movie critic or a TV show critic or whatever. I'm just kind of giving my thoughts and my overall point of view from what I saw. And with that, I guess I'll transition into Antman 3, Antman and the Wasp: Quantumania. This movie's been the talk of the town since it first got premiered. Right away, once the movie premiered, there was a lot of mixed reviews, and the whole thing of the Rotten Tomato score being so low, like Eternals was. So right away, I just wanted to go in there and see it for myself, and because I never like to let certain reviews or any type of negativity kind of ruin me going into a movie thinking a certain way already. I just like going in and making up my own mind, and this has been such a hyped up movie for so long, ever since we finished Loki season 1. We've all been kind of waiting to see what happens with Kang and Jonathan Majors, and just kind of seeing the progression of this villain come to life in this movie. Especially after Thanos and after Endgame, we all want to see, what's coming next, what's the big thing. And this movie is supposed to have started all that. Again, I don't really want to do a big old spoiler review of Antman Quantumania. I'll just give kind of my favorite parts, and kind of what I enjoyed and what I maybe necessarily didn't enjoy as much. And then I kind of want to talk about just where I think we're at in Marvel right now, and kind of this whole aspect of that type of universe. But yeah, Ant-Man Quantumania was fun to watch for sure. I thought the humor that they incorporated within the movie worked throughout, especially after Thor: Love and Thunder, and kind of just some of the other recent Marvel projects that have released. I was kind of worried about where they would go with some of the humor choices. And I thought everything worked pretty well for the most part. It wasn't too jokey or just over the top with the humor. I thought everything worked well. And going into the movie, the only kind of concern I was worried about was the movie's already called Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So from the trailers that we got, and in my opinion, I think the trailers showed way too much of the movie in them. I was wondering, with the story that they're going to try to tell, are they going to just try to kill off Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, and kind of somehow make us accept his daughter, Cassie Lang, on kind of becoming the new Ant-Man or Ant-Woman or whatever. And how exactly are they going to handle Kang in the movie within the quantum realm? And to me, I thought the route that they went worked for me at least, but I could definitely see where some people may have expecting one thing, especially from the trailers, and they didn't necessarily get what they wanted. They didn't do a whole lot of stuff with time or really like other dimension type things, which I kind of thought they would. I thought they were going to go a little bit more crazier with all that stuff. But that's what I thought they were going to do in Multiverse of Madness. I thought we were going to see some crazy multiverse type stuff, and we kind of did a little bit, but it wasn't as crazy as I thought it could have been. They definitely have a sci-fi kind of Fifth Element, maybe a little bit of Blade Runner type feel within this movie, which I dug, but I know for sure there's certain people that, that type of genre and filmmaking style. I know there's a lot of people that aren't into it, and if you're one of those type of people, then for sure I could see why Ant-Man Quantumania didn't necessarily work for you. The big thing that a lot of people are talking about as well was Modok. And if you don't know Modok, he's pretty much just this evil, kind of big-headed cyborg type character, and in the movie he's played by Chris Stoll from Ant-Man 1, the bad guy Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man 1. And you see him in the trailer, but you can only really see him in the back with his face and kind of how he looks. But it wasn't really something that was going through my mind once the movie started. So whenever he pops up on screen, it's a little bit of a shock, just kind of seeing like how they went with his character design and his like big old face just kind of stretched out on this big-headed CGI character. A lot of people were talking about the CGI of it, and just the VFX overall of kind of MODOK in the movie. people were saying it looks like George Lopez from Shark Boy and Lava Girl kind of style, and it really kind of does, to be honest. But I didn't necessarily mind Modok in the movie. The CGI looked, I mean, it wasn't the best for sure, but I kind of thought that was what made it a little bit more funny to me while watching the movie. I thought maybe if it kind of looked a little too photorealistic, it might not have landed as well with the humor, but I kind of felt like the way his face looked was funnier than maybe what they're going for. Because a lot of people just are crapping on the just overall look of it and how they think the VFX and the CGI just looks bad. And it's definitely not the best, but to me, I just thought it was funny. The overall story of the movie, I mean, it was whatever, you know. I was a little disappointed in Kang and kind of what we got from him, and like I said, from the trailers, they definitely gave away too much. I think if you watch any of the main official trailers for the movie, you've pretty much seen the whole movie, and you're kind of just waiting to see what happens with the end credit scenes. And the end credit scenes didn't do a whole lot for me as well. I thought they were cool. Definitely the last one with kind of giving us a sneak peek into Loki season 2. That one was definitely the best one for me. I know a lot of people had problems with the Council of Kings, kind of like the mid-credit scene. And I thought it was whatever. I kind of didn't really feel nothing afterwards when it ended, which is kind of a disappointment. I wanted to feel a certain type of way about Kang after watching this movie, and it kind of just seemed like they are still trying to set him up for what's to come in the future. That was probably my biggest issue with the movie, I guess, was just kind of how, not just Antman Quantumania, but certain other Marvel movies that we've gotten to where, the villain just doesn't hit as well as it should. Kind of reminded me of Gore the God Butcher and Thor Love and Thunder. You get a guy like Christian Bale to come in and portray such a cool villain in comic books, and we kind of just get this watered down type version of him, and a lot of people know what these characters' true potential is. And so when we don't get that on screen, it kind of just makes us think that, the people in charge aren't necessarily willing to take certain risks with characters. But I think it's still a little too early to tell with Kang, and like with the guy like Jonathan Majors at the helm. They still got time to do something crazy with Kang. My thing is, I think maybe what they might try to do now, or maybe this was been the plan all along. I would like to see them maybe try to do something with Doctor Doom and kind of make Doctor Doom the big bad in the Marvel Universe, and kind of making Kang the Darth Vader type in a way, where he kind of is the one doing the heavy lifting, and Doctor Doom's kind of playing in the shadows and plotting and just coming up with different ways to conquer the universe. Kevin Feige has said that the next Fantastic Four movie is supposed to be a big staple in the phase that we're in, and I think if they could land a high caliber actor to portray Doctor Doom, I think maybe he could be able to come in and take over the mantle as trying to be the one to conquer the galaxy, and I think they could take it to some pretty cool places with him. But I think we have to wait and see with Kang and kind of what happens in Loki season 2, which we're getting this year. I love Loki season 1, and I think season 2 should probably be even better. Yeah, I think we're kind of slowly gonna get back into the the winning ways of Marvel with Guardians 3. I think Guardians 3 is gonna be the win that Marvel has needed for a while. I think Guardians 3 is gonna be one of the better Marvel films to have come out within recent years, for sure. I think it's going to put him back on track. Just kind of James Gunn's, his swan song to end his trilogy with Marvel and go on and do things with DC. And I've just been in such a big Guardians of the Galaxy, mood lately, with the trailer, obviously. But I recently just played the Guardians of the Galaxy video game. And I fell in love with the characters even more on the video game, even though it doesn't have anything to do with the movies or comic books necessarily. But, just kind of being in that world of the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's one of my favorites for sure within the Marvel universe. And then, yeah, I think Marvel has some good things to come in the near future. Right now, it just kind of seems like, they've been trying to pump out projects left and right. TV shows on Disney Plus, and it seems like a movie every few months. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot of visual effects artists, being pushed to the limit, and you're trying to pump out all these stories and kind of have them all make sense and come together and kind of be a big whole unity. It's definitely not an easy task, especially when you've been doing it for so long already. I think in a way, Marvel kind of has been diluted recently. I've still been liking a lot of the stuff that they've been putting out. I'm not one of those people who tries to, necessarily hate on purpose on companies like these, and their losses. I just want to see them do better with the next one. And just because I'm just a fan of the property, and I want the best way possible for them to give us an awesome product. So I just think, once they get out of this kind of funk, they'll start, like I said, with Guardians 3 and Loki season 2. They'll start having a couple more wins under their belt, and then I think they'll really start to get on a roll and kind of buckle down and see what works and what isn't working lately. We saw DC kind of go through the same thing where they were, hitting all these bumps in the road, and then they kind of slowly started over time getting a groove with some of their movies and their products, and you look at them now, they kind of looks like they're doing things the right way with planning out and kind of taking it one step at a time. And Marvel's just gotta get back on track. I have no doubt that they will, but we'll see. I'm hoping Kevin Feige could, one day when he's all said and done with Marvel, maybe he could go and take over Star Wars and kind of, implement the same kind of philosophy and way of playing out a specific universe and kind of map out a, just an overall well done, thought out story that connects. Everyone was saying Star Wars was diluted for a while when the whole sequel trilogy was kind of coming out, and you look at Marvel, and Marvel was still doing its thing, and that all just comes with coordination and planning. Like I said, I don't see any of these big properties kind of going away anytime soon. Marvel just has to get a couple more wins, back to back, and then once we get the bigger names, like I said, with Fantastic Four, they already announced Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland's being worked on right now. Deadpool 3 be rated R with Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. There's a lot of cool stuff to come out still, and I think there's still things to get excited about if you're a big Marvel fan. So I'm not too worried about kind of what's been working or what hasn't been working necessarily for Marvel with the movies and the shows. I'm still tuning into the comics every week. Again, if you haven't, follow me on Instagram at Admire My Moonsault. If you like comic books, I post a comic on my Instagram once a day from the newly released drops every week, every Wednesday, Tuesday. I just buy what I want to read throughout the week from the new releases, and I post screenshots of the comic and with variant covers on my Instagram. So if you like comic books and you don't necessarily know where to start or which one to get into, maybe you'll find one on my Instagram that kind of piques your interest and kind of gives you a little starting point on where to jump in. I like doing that on my Instagram. Like I said, I'm a consumer with these properties, with Marvel, DC, and Star Wars, and I'll continue to be, just because it's something I like to do, and their way of storytelling will always have some hit and misses, but it's the hits that make me stick around. So yeah, Antman 3, Quantumania. I guess my final thoughts. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm not mad at it. I'm excited for Guardians 3 though, that's for sure. And it's pretty much the main things I wanted to talk about this week. Today, actually, I saw something where, kind of circling back to that whole UFO thing at the beginning, some weird ball sphere object washed up on the shore in Japan today. And they brought out the bomb squad and all that to go out there to the beach and look at it. But to me, it kind of just looked like something off a boat or something. it kind of looked like it was manufactured somewhere, kind of like something that kind of just is meant to be out, like something on a big old ship or like a buoy or something, you know. And it just happened to wash up on the shore in Japan. Yeah, I want to come on here and talk about a lot of stuff like that still. UFOs, UAP, just different types of news stories like that. I want to keep going on with this. If there's any big time, you know, Marvel stuff, like new movie to come out or show, or Star Wars news, like big time, like for Mando season 3, just stuff like that. I might start kind of giving kind of one of my best of the week comic book reads at the end of these, and just kind of give my, you know, kind of my reading list on just what I've been reading with comics lately. I could tell you one for sure. I just finished this one last night actually, and from DC, it's called Lazarus Planet Omega, and it's just like this crazy story with it has to do with Damian Wayne, Bruce Wayne's son. So if you're not familiar with the whole DC property and kind of what's been going on with their stories, I just put that issue on my Instagram at Admire My Moonsault. It's a cool place to start, I think, if you know you're just trying to jump into some comics on the DC side. And yeah, I post one every day on there with variant covers. I'm trying to jump in on Twitch more with Modern Warfare 2. The season 2 just dropped. I want to be playing some Warzone on Twitch. So you can follow me on Twitch at Admire My Moonsault. I have a Twitter. It's at Admire My Moon Pie. At Admire My Moonsault, I think didn't fit or something. But I don't really use Twitter too much. But I definitely want to start implementing it more and more. And yeah, if we get some crazy UFO, UAP news throughout the week, I'll definitely jump back on here and kind of give y'all the rundown. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Again, I'll be dropping one of these every week. Sometimes I might just come up with something to kind of talk about at the top of my mind, and you know, sometimes we got some crazy things going on in the world, and I'll just want to give my thoughts on them, and you know, just kind of keep this ball rolling. Just kind of slowly getting into a groove with all this, and you know, try to make things better with the audio, and you know, eventually, you know, just do cooler things overall. Maybe implementing a face cam and just kind of getting like a different type of vibe with these videos. But right now I'm enjoying just hopping on here and, you know, talking to whoever's listening, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. Y'all stay safe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.